fellow humans, my name is Mary, this is my vlog channel, and welcome back. So I have a couple of YouTube channels and I'm also on social media, and this is a topic that a lot of people have asked me about. For those that know that I live in Las Vegas, and I didn't really know which direction I wanted to take this channel, but now that I kind of have a better idea, I figured this would be perfect to go ahead and get into the topic. So if you're just curious because you're trying to visit, or if Vegas has been somewhere that you've been considering making your forever home, then keep watching. So we're gonna start with the pros first, right? I made notes, so I don't want to forget anything. The first pro is that it's a very metropolitan city, right? You can meet people from any part of the world living here, right? And sometimes they don't live here, sometimes they're just back and forth on business, whatever have you. But if you're one of those people that really enjoys variety and likes to kind of meet people from all like diverse backgrounds, Vegas is a really good place to do that. So it's almost like you don't have to go to the travel because the travel comes to you. Very nice. The second pro is that there's entertainment at your fingertips, literally. So I live close to the Strip, but even when I lived in Henderson, I was only 17 minutes away from the Strip, 13 from the airport. That's also another pro, right? For someone who used to live in Houston before and had to drive 45 minutes minimum, you know, with no traffic to the airport, I greatly appreciate being able to just like pack my bags and go on an impromptu trip without worrying about, am I gonna be late? So that's also a great thing to have. But yeah, back to the entertainment though. Like, we have the top restaurants here, the top shows, and with COVID, I know things are a little bit different, but it is all still close to you. Now, a lot of locals do not spend a lot of time on the Strip, but the fact is that it's there for you when you want it. You don't have to travel anyway to get it. And if you have people visit you, then you can always, like, you know, show them a good time. So, you know, it makes you the hostess with the mostest. Number 3, staycations for days, right? So in the average city, maybe you can find a nice hotel and stay there, but it doesn't feel like a vacation at the end of the day because it's like what? A Hilton, a Marriott, at the worst, a Waldorf Astoria, right? But it's not the same. The vibes here is like, because it is a city that people come for entertainment, there's a certain livelihood, a certain energy that are at the hotel. So when you go on staycation, you really definitely feel like you went out of town kind of thing. So, and there are many casinos for you to kind of like look through. If you guys want me to kind of visit each one like individually and break down their pros and the cons, I would love to do that. All right, fourth pro is that it is a central location, right? So say that you do want to get out of Vegas, there's so much that's still around. There's Utah, right? Get a little Mormon vibes, right? Mount Charleston is around the corner, which is really cold when it gets too hot, you know, in the city. LA is literally a 45-minute, hour flight. 4 hours if you like to drive, right? Arizona is right here. It's like so much. It's central to where you can get to so many places and so many seasons year round. So I really quite like that. All right, number 5 is money, moolah, dinero, right? There's a lot of money to be made in Vegas because there's a lot of money that is spent in Vegas, right? No matter what your industry is. So real estate agents make a ton of money here. Dancers, right? If you're dancing in a small town and you're earning like pennies, but you move to Vegas, you're quadrupling your money. I'm not giving you any ideas. I'm just saying that if you're gonna do it, here's a place to do it. I met quite a few girls that were dancing just to put themselves through college. Like, there's a lot of money to be made in the entertainment industry in general. So like, even as a bartender, as a bottle chick, or whatever have you, there's money to be made there. There's money to be made if you're a DJ. There's money to be made. Like, it is just a very fast money moving city. And fitness, whatever it is that you do, like, there's a ton of money to be earned in Vegas. The 6th pro is that it's a blue state, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't like to dive into politics. I'm not gonna go any further than that, but there you have it. Number 7 is how late the city sleeps, right? You can go get your nails done at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? You can go get pizza at 4 o'clock in the morning. There's just so much to do if you can't sleep. And so, like, it's an insomniac's playground. Dream come true. I love that. That was actually the biggest thing that attracted me to the city the very first time I visited. I prioritize my sleep a little more now, but back then, I was up all night and I liked it. I loved the energy of being able to know that there was still life happening while I was up working. Nice. Number 8, a lot of people don't know this about Vegas because all they know is the Strip, right? Or like other little tourist areas that they visit. The suburbs, as I mentioned to you earlier, are not too far. So you can live in a nice family-oriented area like Summerlin and Henderson, and they're still close enough that if you want to get to the entertainment, you can. And for me, when I lived in Henderson, I felt very safe there. A lot of people don't know that it's the second safest city in America, right? Because you think of Vegas and you think it's wild party. But how's that for blowing your mind? Which leads me to the next point, views, right? It does not matter where you live in Vegas. Maybe I've just selected really nice properties, but when I ultimately decide not to go with a certain place, what I have noticed is that you will be pressed. You will be hell-bent to not find a view. It may not be the city view, it may not be the Strip, but you will be looking at mountains in like different levels of properties, right? And the ones that are not so expensive, in the mid-level ones, and definitely at the high-rises or the luxury properties for sure. So that is what I love. I love the geography. I love the way that everything is built. And so it just set up to where that like you always have something nice to look at. That's a big thing for me because I feel like that's part of inspiration. And like for a lot of us working from home right now, it's just nice to be able to look out your window and be like, wow, what a beautiful like life this is. What a beautiful existence this is to be a part of. And number 10, a lot of people don't talk about this either. The natives here are very sweet. I have a couple of friends that are natives and just darlings. Like, I'm gonna get into the cons really soon and I'll bring it full circle for you guys. But in my experience, the natives have been very, very sweet. The ones that are actually from here, good people. All right, let's jump into the cons. First con relates kind of to the first pro. Because it is a metropolitan city, because it does attract people from all over the world, people are very transient, right? Which if building friendships and all of that stuff is a big thing for you, you may struggle here just because like the moment you find that bestie, they're gone and they're moving to Italy, or they're moving back to LA, they're moving back to Arizona, Colorado, Virginia, wherever it is they came from, New York, right? So that is the big struggle that I found with Vegas, is that like building relationships almost seem pointless to a certain extent. Like at this point is always like, I mean, nothing's guaranteed anywhere you live anyway, but this is definitely one of those cities that fosters movement. So take that how you may. Second con is homelessness. Now, again, this exists a lot in America, okay? There are homeless people every single city. My first experience living here, I actually didn't know that it was a thing because obviously I lived in Henderson again and I was up in the cut, so I didn't know any better. But my previous apartment, I did a tour, by the way, you guys can, I'm gonna link it up here, and that was more of a transitional unit. It's close to the university, and that is when I realized that, wow, there is a serious homeless problem here. Mainly in the area, though. But even still, like, I was just like, dang, like, it really makes it tough to just move on with your life and go on about your daily life and see that there are people that are helpless like this. Does that make sense? And now that I think about it, though, I believe there are people, like, squatting at that property that I ended up moving to in Henderson before they finished it. So I've noticed that if a building is unfinished, they need a lot of security because homeless people just show up there and make a home, you know? It's a very strange dynamic because like, while my heart goes out to them, it puts me on edge if I'm not expecting to see somebody and they pop up on me. Does that make sense? Anyhow. Number 3 is an obvious. You knew it was coming. The tourist, right? And I don't mean the tourists that are just on the strip screaming woo, having a great time. Love it. Right? The ones I have a problem with are the ones that are expecting to use you for the Vegas experience, right? So I go to fashion show to grab a couple things. I run into a guy, you know, I hear the accent, but I'm thinking maybe he lives here. And then, you know, we do the introductions, and then down the line I find out that he's actually visiting for 3 days and looking for someone to show him a good time. Are you stupid? Like, what do I look like to you? Like, the idea that like you're just supposed to be somebody's tour guide, and for what? What exactly do I gain from wasting my life, wasting hours, sitting across the way from you, having dinner, showing you all the cool spots. What do I gain from that? I could take myself out to eat. I could take myself to a strip club. I could take myself to the best of the best shows. What are you on? But yeah, those people, that's a no for me. And they're not just boys. Girls are like that too. Either way it goes, it's just like, I'm not your tour guide, so no thank you. Number 4 is more recent in the last 3 years or so. 4 years, or is it 5? I think they started in 2016. Yeah, it's 5 years. Paying for parking at the casinos. It used to be free, and that was one of the ways that they encouraged locals to actually come out and do stuff. And now they want to charge you for parking, which usually mainly affects us because the tourists usually are just Ubering, right? It's such a small thing. It's petty, but I don't like it because it adds up, right? Yeah, which leads me into number 5 con, smoking in the casinos. From a very young age, I have been deadly allergic to smoke, right? I just cannot take it. I didn't discover it until it started to affect me athletic-wise in high school, but it's definitely something that makes me very sick. It gets me. It literally blocks out my pathways. And so the fact that all hotels on the Strip, minus the Trump, do not have casinos and everybody's allowed to smoke, it's a little bit of a challenge because again, some of the times you're just trying to get to a store or you're trying to get to a restaurant, right? You're not trying to go gamble, but in order to get to that place, you have to walk through the smoke. Does that make sense? It just gives me a massive migraine. That's for me though. If you're a smoker, then you whatever. Number 6, rent has went up due to the Raiders coming out here, right? A lot of Californians moved out here because of course that's their team-ish. And yeah, rent has just went up. Whether you're buying or renting, it's just sky high, double, almost triple for most places. So I've been kind of kicking myself lately for not buying a house when I moved here in 2014 because the equity is real, but if we're being realistic, that's not my lifestyle. It really isn't. I'm not ready to be doing yard work or paying taxes and all of that. I really feel like renting still fits me, but I do have those moments when I'm like, dang, I should have invested one because wow, I would be cashing out. I digress. All right, number 7 seems like a cliche, right? But pimps and shady people. So this is what I was saying about the opposite of me saying that the natives are really sweet. Those that do come here, it seems like sometimes, okay, not all the time, because I have met some quality individuals here as well, but sometimes it really, really feels like the scum of the earth got together and said, hey, let's move to Las Vegas. So to a certain extent, I'm kind of happy that rent's going up. It feels like that would eliminate some people, but here's the caveat. As I mentioned, this is where you make all the money doing shady business. So the pimps are making a lot of money because their dancers are making the money and bringing it to them. The dancers are also making their own money. So the nicest cars, the nicest apartments, nicest high-rises have these people. So even though you're paying proper rent money, even though you're living in a nice community, you're always going to find sketchy business, right? You're going to walk past that person when you just know something's off with him and he's trying to recruit you. But the good thing about it is you develop a sixth sense for it. Once you live here long enough, you're like, yeah, no thanks. You know who to kind of have conversation with. But it is a bit of a downer. If you're paying thousands monthly to live in a place, you'd rather not have to deal with the riffraff, if that makes sense. So that is a little sketchy. The demographic do be kind of weird, but a lot of the properties have vacancy and they need to fill it. So most of the time, if the person has the money, a lot of them have enough money that they can just pay the lease off. They're not going to say no to that. They're going to take the money. But then you start seeing the kind of business that goes on. My solution is just to stay to myself. If I suspect something's funny, I just, you know what I'm saying, I do me. And then last but not least is lack of professionalism in certain customer service areas. Because while I said we have the nicest restaurants, we have the nicest here and there, you can pay for a quality experience. But I've noticed that, for example, in the leasing experience for me, as I told you, I've lived in bomb properties, but it always seems like the leasing staff are very unprofessional. They don't usually have boundaries. They think you're their best friend. They get to inviting you to party. They want to go to lunch with you. They want to go smoke with you. I had a guy at Wells Fargo, as I'm leaving the bank, the investment banker slides me his business card and is like, hey, just in case you want to go smoke. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought he was walking me to the door to be like a gentleman and to give me that, extra level of customer service. Meanwhile, he just wanted to get me far enough away from the, other staff members so he could tell me that. And this is not someone I was flirting with. This is not someone I had personal conversations. I was literally there just to talk about money. So that just gives you an idea. Like, sometimes it's just like, who trained you? But I think it also goes back to the logic that the people that would be the cream of the crop, that have graduate degrees and they're working, number one, in the industry, or they're making fast money, right? They don't have time to work 9 to 5s. That doesn't cut it for their lifestyle. So unfortunately, you miss out on good quality people, and people that are hiring for these customer service positions, they kind of have to pick from the best of the best of the 5s, right? They don't have 6, 7s, 8, 9s, definitely not 10s. Because even if they luck out and hire a 7, that 7 is going to find a faster way to make money. So anyway, yeah. That is the end of this video. If you have any more questions about Las Vegas or anything like that, drop them down below, I got you. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.